stick them on your heads, hold on to them for later. But we're going to start our tour officially. We are rolling, and we're heading down into the largest movie studio in all of Hollywood. We've got a 400-acre lot here at Universal and over 100 years of movie making history. So we've got a lot of ground to cover, both literally and figuratively, and it's all going to be guided by me. My name is Olivia. I'm your tour guide this morning. And I've got Dean by my side. He is going to be our wonderful driver to get us safely around the lot this morning. Truly could not do this tour without Dean because I'm sitting backwards and I don't have a license anyway. So I'm just here to give you fun facts about film and television. And I'm actually not even doing that alone. You see, I also have a co-host. And he's my dear and personal friend. But you may know him as the host of a little show called The Tonight Show. You may also know him as the host of That's My Jam on NBC because my co-host and my dear friend is none other than Mr. Jimmy Fallon.
Welcome to the Universal Studio Tour. I'm Jimmy Fallon. I'll be making sure that you get through this experience in one piece. You've got the very best guide.
Olivia.
And the greatest friend. They're the best. I love them. Even though
Olivia
owes me $5.
What?
I know you guys are excited to get on the tour, but first, a few safety rules.
I don't know anybody, but I do have some safety rules, so we're going to focus on that. First, if you need guest assistance or have a medical emergency, or if you drop something of value off the side of the trail or have any sound or video issues, reach up and grab the red E-cord that runs along the center of the ceiling of the tram, and I'll be back to assist you as soon as it's safe to do so. Otherwise, during the entire tour, please stay seated and keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. Remember to use the red cord above your head if you need any assistance. The studio is private property, so if at any time during the tour you drop your phone or just can't wait to use the restroom, clear the void and remain seated. And please, no smoking of any kind during the tour. And be prepared. Our tour tours features loud noises, solitary movements, fire effects, and many water effects. You'll have your cameras up for great photo opportunities, but keep an eye on them so they don't get wet. And finally, for your own safety and the safety of those around you, please do not use selfie sticks on board the tram. Thank you. Now we can officially kick things off as we make our way towards the front lot for the first part of our tour. The front lot is where the majority of our sound stages are located, but before we see those sound stages, we get to pass by Fire Station 51 to your right. That's not a film set. That is a real fire station that services all of us here at Universal City. That's right, we are technically our own city. We have our own zip code, and within that, we have our fire station, medical services, and a sheriff station, all right here in the lot. The only thing our city doesn't have that a real city might have permanent residents. Because nobody actually lives here. We all go home at the end of the day. Universal City only exists to make movies, TV shows, commercials, music videos, you name it. Most of our activity actually takes place inside of our sound stages. About 80 to 90% of all filming takes place inside the sound stages. And we got our first sound stage in the tour to your left, Sound Stage 12. One of our oldest sound stages on the lot with over 100 years of movie making history. So here's just a few examples of the great projects that are filmed over at Sound Stage 12. This where it looks like it's outdoors and at night. Those were all set up and filmed inside Soundstage 12, which is crazy to think about, because as you can see on your screen, an empty soundstage does not look like much. But you'll notice that that space does not have any windows, and the walls are heavily padded, which makes the space 98% soundproof. So it throws off all outdoor light, almost all outdoor sound, throws off the entire outdoor world, and by doing that, you create a space where filmmakers get to build their own worlds for their productions. There's really no limits to what you can do inside of a soundstage, which is why most filming happens inside of those spaces. As those are all examples of movies that filmed over at Soundstage 12. Of course, there are a lot of TV shows that film out here too. In fact, our TV series Bel Air, it's filmed in Soundstage 14 over to your left, as well as the soundstages we just broadcast back there. Bel Air is the dramatic reimagining of the 90s sitcom The Fresh Prince of Bel Air, streaming on our streaming platform Peacock. So I've got a message for you for two of the stars of Bel Air, the Barry Banks, Ollie Showton.
This has got to be really good. So what is you put egg on the cheese? You put cheese on the egg or on the cheese? It's not. Whoa, how many CCTV in there? It's got to be a lot. Man, we could probably fit the whole Bel Air cast and crew. You know, we got to get one of these for a mansion. For sure. You're lucky if you are. The Banks family mansion lives right here on Green Bus a lot. Some of Bel Air's most critical scenes have been filmed right here. Jabari, what have been your most memorable moments? Man, there's so many trees running. You know, I love the earlier set where Will face angels and at that moment his life changes forever. What about you? Well, the Bel Air Academy gym set is here too, and I remember you having a segment played Icebound Court. Yeah, I'm not here. I still can't feel my toes. Yeah, but seriously, my favorite part of this life is the top to 3 people all together. Hair, wardrobe, makeup, set design, props, and transportation. Oh, yes! You know, Transform's the best, but we have the sweetest lines for us to play with. So speaking of, if we're gonna get a ride like this, we better go track the Transform now and let these people go back to their hotel. Oh, yeah, that sounds good. It's not allowed to drive. Oh, not at all. I got the keys. Oh, man.
Bel Air is just one of the many TV shows we've had filming on our lot recently. We've also had the upcoming Ted TV series out here, so we got a little statue of Ted to the left. And I know so far Ted has only had movies, but he is getting a prequel TV series, and they filmed it in our sound stages and on some of our backlot sets. Now Ted is a blend of live action and animation. Of course, we have fully animated projects here as well, with Trolls, Bands, and others just now coming up. So, you know, we're doing a little bit of everything here at Universal. But, no matter what kind of project you're making, whether it's film, television, live action, animation, it's going to require a pre-production phase. That's where all that planning and producing happens before the cameras start rolling. A lot of that pre-production work happens in these bungalows to your left. These are offices for several different production companies, including Amy Pascal of Pascal Pictures. They were producers for all the Tom Holland Spider-Man films for Marvel, Greta Gerwig's Little Women, and the animated Spider-Verse movies. And you also may have spotted the Wicked logo to your left, because that's Mark Platt Productions, currently working on Wicked Part 1 and 2. And Office 5195 to your left there used to belong to the iconic director Alfred Hitchcock.
You said we could move into that office. I said, no, I can never be in Hitchcock's office. That should be a shrine, a museum.
Very excited just to know he was there and walk by and know he was in that office. Hitchcock has influenced every direction.
I saw Hitchcock folks walking around the commissary.
Hitchcock had his bungalow on the lot. I used to go see Alfred Hitchcock.
I loved working with him. I highly respect him. He really understood fear and terror. The birds, that was a really scary movie.
The birds? Oh man, they had me looking at crows like for the next 10 years.
Psycho, of course.
Vertigo was one of the all-time great masterpieces. Hitchcock's master.
So we've had a lot of incredible directors, producers, and projects come over in the front lot. But now, we're leaving the front lot, and we're crossing over into the back lot, which, as you can guess, is where all of our large-scale exterior sets are located. And we're kicking things off with the largest of all of our backlot sets, our metropolitan sets. We've got these sets divided into different city sections. So up first, these glass buildings to your right make up our financial district. We have that little Central Park, grassy area, and then we got Brownstone Street, a little row of brownstone apartments you might recognize from any of these productions. This next section of our metropolitan sets is designed to have more of a small town feel to it. We call it Courthouse Square, but you probably know it better as Hill Valley, from Back to the Future and Back to the Future Part 2.
It was actually the back lot of Courthouse Square that inspired the entire
I had seen something in the clock tower on that ledge. It was a ledge about that wide. And I was standing inside, looking at the ledge, and I already had vertigo. I just thought, there's no way in the world, no way I'm going to stand on that. I was up there for quite a while. Of course, I had a cable.
Now the building you see on your screen here does not exactly look like that City Hall building to your left, but don't worry. We didn't tear down that iconic structure from Back to the Future. You're still looking at it. It's just hiding behind a brick facade. But since the front doors of the facade are open, you should be able to see the edges of those original columns just inside the doorway. You can see the original doors standing about 5 feet back. We love Back to the Future, but that building was way too recognizable after those movies, to the point that it was making it difficult to film other projects in this area. So to change the appearance of the building, they placed that brick facade on top, which, you know, I use the term brick loosely. It's not actually made out of brick. Back it may look like one in a concrete jungle here on New York Street, but these facades are actually made out of lightweight materials like plastic, fiberglass, and plywood. And we do this because it makes it really easy to change the appearance of these buildings from production to production. But you know, it's easiest to make New York Street look like a modern-day New York City. So I'm going to pass it over to my New Yorker co-host, Mr. Jimmy Fallon.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York. I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. Once got bugged over there. An old woman. Okay. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta live in New York City. I'm walking here! Hey, it's cool guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
Now we're leaving the concrete jungle to head on up to the real jungle for King Kong 363. So here's a message from the director of King Kong, Peter Jackson.
It's a little maybe not in the Philippines. I saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I wanted to become a filmmaker. I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up on the edge. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island, and it's great to have you along for the ride. Now, we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready. Don't put them on yet, just have them in your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island.
Be sure to remain seated, supervise your children, keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the tram at all times, hold on tightly to your belongings, and no flash photography inside of the attraction.
is in the middle of the environment. They're looking in all directions. There's creatures coming at them. There's some coming from this side and T-Rexes from the other side. Working on a movie, we always know people look and still ahead of the shot that they're working on. Here you have to take into account that people are looking in all directions. Also, one of the things about this ride, one of the mirrors that we're used to working on, there's no cuts because it's one long shot. This tram that's driving along through Skull Island is where the camera's from. This one represents where the screen is 10 meters away. We really created about 50 minutes of a feature film. That amount of visual information, that number of pixels, and presenting them to the audience because it's a hell of a ride.
When it looks like our Tram got pulled onto the screen by a T-Rex back there, it technically made our Tram a picture car, because by definition, a picture car is any vehicle you see on screen, even if it's not a car. But we're about to see a bunch of them off screen, so go ahead and get those cameras ready, but be sure to remain seated. They're going to be on your left-hand side. And up first, we got our Philly Goose Coupe from American Graffiti, my favorite movies. We have our backup AI Ferrari that we love it to call a faux Ferrari, because it actually has a Volkswagen engine inside. We got Bumblebee from the Transformers movie, several Back to the Future vehicles, our Flintstone vehicles, which have no engines in them at all, so those have to get pulled around set on roads. Bird Anglia from Harry Potter, Willie's Coupe from Fast and Furious, Jurassic Park and Jurassic World vehicles, including our gyros here. The Prize Taxi Van from Noki, the Crawdaddy Go from us, and 4 Transformers vehicles, including that tank that's almost entirely made out of plywood. It was designed to look like rusted metal, but we used plywood to actually construct that tank, because that makes it a lot more lightweight, makes it easier to get around set, and also a lot more inexpensive, which productions always love. Listen, if they can make something out of plywood, they absolutely will. That is movie magic rule number 1. There's a lot of different kinds of movie magic work back there. I pointed out a few examples, but I didn't point out the movie magic work on our gyro screen. Now you may have noticed it did not have a glass sphere around it like it appeared to in Jurassic World, and that's because in reality, that glass sphere never existed. It was entirely digital effects. But you know, speaking of Jurassic World, we gotta actually go back to the original Jurassic Park trilogy, because we're surrounded by vehicles and equipment of the original Jurassic Park films.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Decided to pop up and say hello. And don't worry folks, our dinos don't bite anymore. Clearly they do still spit water, so I'm sorry if we got a little bit wet back there from our dinos. You know, honestly, it could have been a lot worse for all of us. I mean, this Jurassic Park, and they love their water effects. And I really don't mind some water effects, because you might get a little bit wet again. We do have some more water effects coming up, because we're heading into our old Mexico set for a Hollywood weather demonstration. I'm going to show you how we make the movies. So once again, be sure to remain seated. Make sure you're looking over to the left. That's really where this demonstration will be happening. And this area may look familiar to the Dharma fans. We've got kind of a Judas music video over here. And they also use this area for the movie, Big Fat Liar. Let's go ahead and cue the rain. So that rain is actually coming from sprinklers, shooting the water directly up into the air and letting gravity bring it down naturally. The lightning is coming from strobe lights, thunder is coming from speakers. It's a very simple system, but very effective. And we can keep things at this level of intensity. Or we could lighten it up into more of a drizzle. Or we could take it up a notch. That flash flood worked like a charm, and that water is going to flow right back under the bridge to be recycled for our next weather demonstration. And for those of you who have not seen Big Fat Liar, this is how they used it in the movie. Now this area of Old Mexico has been used for Nacho Libre, starring Jack Black, Three Amigos, starring Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, and Martin Short, and Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and so many other great comics that I don't have time to list, as we're leaving Old Mexico to mosey on down into our old Western sets. Now for this part, I'm going to pass it over to my co-host, my cowboy co-host, Mr. Jimmy Fallon.
This town ain't big enough for the both of us, Jimmy Fallon.
Well, I ain't going anywhere, Jimmy Fallon.
The last folks in this tram don't want no trouble. They just want to check out 6 Points, one of the oldest sets on the Universal line.
I heard this where John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart shot a few of their westerns.
That's right. That's where I aim to shoot here.
Looks like we got ourselves a Mexican standoff. Lucky shot.
I want to see you mount up and get out of town while we're getting good.
All right. Well, I'll see you again, Fallon.
Oh, you can count on me, Fallon. Now get it.
This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
But we just have to talk it out.
As Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Fallon said, these are the oldest of all of our backlot sets, and they go all the way back to the silent film era. And we listed John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart as two of those kind of classic Hollywood cowboys that we've had out here on these sets. But those were just two of many. I do want to let everybody know that our tour is now approximately at the halfway mark, so I want to remind everybody to stay seated during the entire tour. The studio is private property, and if you drop your phone or just can't wait to use the restroom, hold the red cord to get my attention, and I'll be back to assist you. But do remain seated on the tram. Thank you. Alright, now we're going from our oldest sets, the Western sets, to our second oldest sets on the backlot, our Little Europe sets. Now these sets were very popular during our monster movie era, and very exciting time for us here at Universal because The Invisible Man, which filmed over in these sets, is celebrating its 90th anniversary this month. So it's very exciting. Last month, The Hunchback of Notre Dame celebrated its 100th anniversary. That also filmed out here as Frankenstein, The Bride of Frankenstein, The Mummy, and more. Now clearly these sets are no longer the creepy, doom and gloom monster-ridden middle streets they used to be. And now very colorful and inviting as they got a complete makeover for our comedy series, The Good Place.
You, Eleanor Shellstrap, on deck.
Cool. This location, the afterlife, I've never ever seen this.
You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here. I can't risk going to the bad place.
Maybe it's not all that bad.
How can I help you?
What is the bad place?
Well, it doesn't sound awful. awesome.
To your left, you can see our Court of Miracles. That area was used as a town square for the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and it looked very different back then. There used to be this gorgeous fountain in the center of the square, and the buildings looked a lot different. So I actually want to show you some footage from our monster movies, so you can see just how much these sets have changed throughout the years. Gives you a good idea of how much we're able to customize these sets from production to production.
What is it now? The monster. He's in the woods. Get out the bloody. Raise all the men you can, lock them indoors, and wait for me. I'm ready! Go! Go, horses, and go!
So clearly, a very different vibe going on back then. But it wasn't too difficult to completely transform those sets, because just like our Metropolitan sets, they're all facades. So they're designed to be redesigned, and you don't actually have to demolish those buildings and completely rebuild them when you want to change what they look like. All you have to do is change out those lightweight fake shells on the outside and put up whatever you want for your production. Now, Little Europe has also been used as the Kingdom of Genovia in A Princess Diaries 2, A Royal Engagement. It was used in Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, and it was used in the storybook setting for Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, starring Brandy and Whitney Houston. So we've had everything from princesses to pirates to monsters out there on those sets. They're incredibly versatile. Now, we've got a lot of cool projects filming out on our Western sets as well, including Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, starring Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. That movie was set in 1969, but we're going to fast forward a few years to the year 1975, because that's when Jaws premiered, and we're about to be heading through the beaches of Ebony Island. But don't worry, we have handled that pesky little shark problem. As you can see, we already caught the shark just on the back here. And it looks like, as an extra safety precaution, we've even got our police diver George out there doing one final sweep of the water to prove that it is completely free and free of sharks. Except for that one. Okay, everybody remain calm. Get that man out of the water! Now! I don't actually see George out there, so maybe we can get it back to shore. George, here we are! Not
Clear the area! Repeat! Clear the area!
I'm so sorry you folks had to see that. I don't want us to suffer the same fate as George, so everybody remain seated on the tram. Inside the tram. We're going to be waiting out behind these very safe areas of gasoline. Performance given to us by Bruce, the mechanical shark. George, the animatronic diver. And me, if I can say so myself, obviously it was not a real shark attack. It's our mechanical shark, Bruce, who has been part of the studio tour for over 40 years. And he got his name, Bruce, after the original mechanical shark they used while they were filming Jaws. And that shark was named Bruce after Steven Spielberg's lawyer. That's also the reason why the shark in Finding Nemo is named Bruce as well. But, you know, I like to think that our Bruce is the best Bruce, because ours actually works. I could say the same when they were filming Jaws.
That's a much maligned shark. The shark was frustrating. It didn't really work all the time. It didn't work hardly at all. Wherever you were on an island, you could see
hear the radio news. They were always saying, the shark is not working. Repeat, the shark.
We just waited and waited. We just waited and waited.
The shark was working. Growing up for a while there, so I really own the shark a lot.
There's the young Steven Spielberg sitting in the mouth of Bruce, only 26 years old when he directed Jaws. Now we're leaving the beach and heading on up through the suburbs. Down to your left, you can see some of the houses on Elm Street, some of our suburban sets. And up to your right, you can see our cute little chicken ranch, originally built for the best little whorehouse in Texas, starring Dolly Parton. You may have noticed that the original Quantum Leap TV series filmed over at the Chicken Ranch. And last year, our Quantum Leap reboot series also got to film over there. So, it was a little fun, full circle moment for us here at NBC Universal. But now, we are properly entering into the suburbs as we drive down Colonial Street. Some of you may know this street by a different name. You may know it as Wisteria Lane, if you were a fan of the TV series, Desperate Housewives.
If there is one thing everyone in suburbia can appreciate, it's a good neighbor.
During Desperate Housewives, they have complete exclusivity on these sets. So these sets are only used by that show for 8 years straight. Of course, in the time before and after that, we've had a lot of projects film out here. Superstore filmed the finale using this house with the red door to your right. And the Netflix series Never Have I Ever, created by Mindy Kaling and Nate Fisher, used to film in that yellow house to your right, because they used that as the house of the main character, Baby. I also want to point out this light blue house to your left. May not look familiar yet, but they use that house for the main character of the upcoming Ted TV series. So when that show starts streaming, keep an eye out for that house. And another project that's set to start streaming soon that filmed out here is the upcoming Christmas movie Candy Cane Lane, starring Eddie Murphy and Tracy Ellis Ross. They filmed out here all of January and February, and they had Christmas decorations on every single one of these houses, and it looked amazing. So be sure to check that out if you want to see Colonial Street in action. And if you're impatient, you want to see more Colonial Street footage right now, well good, you're in luck. I have a whole filming montage for you. Episode of Good Girls out on Colonial Street where we crashed a car to the front of one of our houses on purpose. And that car would be a picture car. And we're going to have more picture cars come out on your right-hand side. So once again, get those cameras ready. Now first we have some leftover decorations from our Tram experience. And past that you can see Mr. Bean's Mini Coupe. We've got that police vehicle, which is actually a Decepticon from the Transformers series. We have that vintage piano service car in the back from Oh Brother Where Art Thou, and 5 fabulous Fast and Furious vehicles lined up in the front there as well. Now all these cars are parked around the back of a very notorious hotel. I'm sure you know it. This is the Bates Hotel from Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Because on your screen, you see the Psycho House. And we're about to drive past the real Psycho House coming up on your left. And it looks like somebody's home. Everybody pay cool. It's just Norman Bates. Hey, Norman. No, don't mind us. We're just passing through. Okay. Passing through, not passing away, so keep it moving. Yeah, you get back up on the porch there, buddy. Okay, that was a very close call. Not a fan of that, but I'm glad we all made it. Because I wouldn't want you to miss out on these sets. This is our War of the Worlds crash site set. It includes a real Boeing 747 crashed over to the left. I mean, it does not get much cooler than that. This movie was starring Tom Cruise. It was also directed by Steven Spielberg. And here to tell you about the making of the film is Steven Spielberg himself and his production designer, Rick Carter.
The airplane crash site is a perfect example of a set that was all designed around the vision of Spielberg.
You sit down to talk about the War of the World. That thought was the 747 goes right in the big everything. Because it's just something you don't see.
You're doing good. You're doing great. Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Okay. Stand close. Gabby, get in. Get in.
We are just 10 minutes away from the end of the tour. We'll be returning to the theme park shortly. Remember to pull the emergency cord if you need assistance and remain seated at all times. We got one more set to drive through, and that is Jupiter's Claim, the Jordan Peele sci-fi thriller Nope, starring Daniel Kaluuya, Kiki Palmer, and Stephen Young. And here to give these sets a proper introduction is the Academy Award-winning writer-director himself, Mr. Jordan Peele.
Movie magic only happens when a team of collaborators, often in the hundreds, work together to take an impossible notion and bring it to life. This is Jupiter's Claim, a nostalgic, small-time Southern California amusement park owned by former child star Ricky Juke Park. Over there, look into the winking lake and have your picture taken just like the kids in that old 90s movie Kid Share. That's what this whole place is loosely based on. Remember that one? No? Well, I do. A little further down, you can see the brand new Star Lasso experience. Built to showcase an unbelievable new live show. It's not looking so live anymore. Anyway, behind this Hollywood fantasy of a gold rush frontier town lies a sinister secret. It is smack dab in the center of the beautiful plot. Welcome to the world of no.
I think we should get out. Get it? The Jordan Peele also wrote directed Get Out. Oh yeah, I know it's a lame joke. It's okay. Listen, I'm not trying to be a stand-up comedian outside of this tour guide gig, so I'm allowed to tell bad jokes, alright? But you know, I am actually trying to be a very serious actor, so I wrote